Hey folks, how's it going? This is another episode of Teach MA Dude, where we're going to bring you the actual real perspectives and real insights from an actual Massachusetts teacher so that you know what you are getting from me is something that's coming from the front lines. This is coming from someone who's been in the public schools, who's currently in the public schools, who sees what's going on. All right. So today what we're going to be reacting to is we are going to be reacting to kind of what's been going on in the Woburn teachers strike. Now, as the time of this video, that strike is ended and they are going to be going back to work. Now, that being said, it's kind of going to be getting at the idea of strikes in general, because even though we are moving into a new administration with the Maura Healey administration, unfortunately, she's already shown that she is very anti-teacher strike. So what we're going to get into is what is allowed under the law. How does that work? Kind of what happens when teacher strikes happen, and kind of some of the ramifications behind that. Before we go on, please remember, try to give a like and a subscribe. I really would appreciate it so we can continue getting this real perspective out, because in the news media that you see on a day-to-day basis, we're not getting that kind of perspective being shown. We're only really getting some of the sides. All right, so for those of you who don't know, the Woburn teachers have been striking for the past week. They struck because they had not reached a contract. And despite their attempts to kind of push a few different points, the administration wasn't responding. One of the points that really spoke to me was the pay for the paraprofessionals. Now, they claim that paraprofessionals were only making $22,000 a year. Now, for those of you who seem like, and I actually have to correct myself in terms of, I previously railed in a video about how, it doesn't everyone already be receiving, like, can you point to someone who isn't receiving minimum wage? Well, effectively, these paraprofessionals are only making $22,000 a year, because one thing you need to understand is that a workday in a school is going to be about 6 hours. This is what a paraprofessional working in the front lines, working with students, this is what I'm hearing. So we have 6 hours a day. So times by 5, that's 30 hours a week. If school is canceled, you're not getting paid. This is like your typical hourly job. During the summer, what do you do, right? During February break, during April break. Many of us teachers look forward to that because it's like, well, awesome. We get that week off, and that's not impacting our pay, right? We're still going to get that bi-weekly drop. But the paras, we're not getting that. So that is something, think about that, $22K a year. And I'm telling you, we cannot get by without paras. I don't even say that lightly. Like, we need paras to be able for the system to function. In my opinion, they should be put, and I say this to my paras, they should be put on the same grid as the teachers. Even if you lock them in at bachelor's step 1, which is in a typical salary grid, that's the lowest grid, you're still giving them the dignity. You're still giving them that security. And maybe you could say, okay, we're not going to necessarily, you can figure the summer out. Even if you said that, but you still gave them that bi-weekly nice bachelor step 1, hey, I think that's more than they're getting now. They do not get paid enough for what they do. That's just my personal opinion. That is one of many issues that we're looking at, right? Of course, the teachers need to make more money. We know that there's been a record inflation, and teachers' salaries need to be increased to reflect that. And then you also have some other concerns that come up, those small nitty-gritty concerns. We know the reality is that this all costs money. So we got to look at both sides of the picture here. And the people on the other end of the negotiating table have to consider that they only have so much money to spend. And they're going to want to be able to get some ROI, return on investment, even if they were to increase these salaries, right? They're going to have to tighten some things. And, people are expensive, but you got to pay, you got to invest, put in to get out. So the issue, though, is in Massachusetts, teacher strikes are illegal. Okay, there is a law that says that public officials, such as teachers, are not allowed to strike. And so why this is important is that if teachers attempt to strike, the union that represents them, they can be taken to court. And just on the basis that it is against the law, there's no way, there's no like it's against the law except, right? It's against the law. And on one end, I get it, right? If teachers could always just walk off the job whenever they wanted to, then that would be a concern, right? Teachers and everyone could grind society to a halt, the dystopian people would say, and until they got what they want. On the other hand, the issue is if the teachers can't refuse to work, what are they going to do when they get a really crappy deal that doesn't work for them, right? They're going to still have to continue to perform the services no matter what terms are proposed. And so they have to hope they have good terms, right? Because if you really have, again, paraprofessionals, they were not allowed to walk off the job over those paraprofessionals' pay. So I think there is a middle ground, and the MTA has proposed legislation that says, hey, we potentially, under some situations, it should be, they should at least be given some kind of, due process where they can go in front of a judge. They can say, listen, typically strikes are illegal. However, we need to walk off the job because we're concerned about X during COVID, concerned about the conditions of the building. And we want your honor to have these individuals do this before we feel it's appropriate to go back. And then based on the science, both sides can be heard out. I'm just asking for a system where both sides can be heard out. And the reality is, I understand the needs for students to learn. The best way to take care of the kids is to take care of the people taking care of the kids. That's one of the best things you can do. Because the reality is we are losing a lot of really good teachers. And part of that is a difficult population of kids, a needier population of kids, but also what the environment that those kids are in. That is an important thing as well. So I'm happy to see the union striking a deal. I know there remains a lot of tension. There's unions that have walked out, such as Malton already this year. I think I've heard Quincy is having some potential contract issues. I wish both sides the best. Thanks for watching another episode of Teach M a Dude. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.